What's up, everybody? We're back for another week of Honor Hour. All four of us are here for once. Stephen Jensen, Jeremy Lambert, Joe Hulbert, Robert O'Neill. Guys, how you doing?
Doing
Good,
great.
Bob.
It's good.
It's great.
No, it's going to be an interesting one today because Ring of Honor is officially on hiatus now. So we've kind of been planning for this. And
hang on a second, Bob.
Yep.
That is Ring of Honor TV Christmas Edition erasure on your part.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Please still check your local listings for the next 2 weeks, and then lock in for the best of Briscoes for the next 4 months. They'll be airing in the through to April here. No, you're right though. You're absolutely correct. Good job, Bob. You were put on the. We didn't even talk to Bob until we asked him to do the intro. That's so bad.
No, yeah, that was great. Totally put him right on the spot. Like last week, I did it with somewhat of a bit. As you guys like to do all these bits on the show. So I opened up with a great joke about a ski mask, and we were all laughing our asses off. So it was Bob's turn this week.
That did rule. Actually, that's very good. Jeremy, you're back in the world famous Honor Hour studios.
Yes.
You fired up? You're ready to talk about some handshakes and all that stuff?
It feels like it's been 20
years.
20 weeks. Yeah, 20 years. But it does feel like it's been a while. But yeah, I'm here. It's an interesting one, as O'Neill said. That show, let's jump into it. ROH Final Battle 2021 took place on Saturday. They treated it like it was a going away show. I know they aired the video at the end of like, oh yeah, April, we're going to come back and everything. But man, the way they did this show, they treated it like you ain't seeing none of these guys and no ROH ever again. And they didn't even sell it out. That felt really sad to see some empty seats, the way they were shooting it. It ended with Jonathan Gresham winning the title, as we kind of all suspected, against the replacement that we all suspected, unfortunately. The match got cut down, but Gresham won. So here's where I want to start. We're not going to go match by match, I don't think, but we always end up doing match by match anyway. But a lot of moments happened on this show, and I want to start with the moment of Gresham winning the title and the ROH locker room emptying out at the end of the match. To basically cheer everything on as Gresham built and ended up locking on the octopus stretch and punching Jay Lethal in the face to get him to tap out. What'd you make of Gresham's title win and the ROH locker room just kind of coming out to send everybody off, Joseph?
Firstly, it sounds like you like this show a lot less than I did, so this will be an interesting conversation. We actually haven't talked about it at all, right?
No.
So I'm intrigued by that. So I loved it. It reminded me of when, this is a little bit of a deep cut and a little bit nerdy, but it reminded me of when Shikara finally crowned their grand champion. And as the match unfolded, the locker room surrounded the ring for that moment, and it kind of had this organic sense of epic. And that's what this had. I thought it was really quite, it was pretty damn touching. I thought, I'm not going to sit here and do the elephant in the room stuff with the Jay Lethal thing. I expected it to be Jay Lethal. They were the company that allegedly investigated the allegations to begin with. That was a hell of a phrase I just used there. They never had any problem using Jay Lethal. So, they put their name to that being that they cleared the dude. So, that is what it is, right? That was always a thing and a running theme, and it is what it is. He was the obvious name, and that's the name they got. The match was great. I'm going to tell you it wasn't. Jonathan Gresham, I really think, I was watching him in that match, and I really think he has a case for being the next guy after Brian. I really think Danielson's the best wrestler in the world, because if you look at everything he's done, I think it's impossible to take him off that spot until he's not producing at a great rate. And right now he's producing the best rate of his career, so he's got to be there. But Gresh he's so different, so creative, working the arm and what they got out of that and all that stuff, man. Just a brilliant wrestler. And Jeremy, show some love to your content with him. We actually talked about months ago the dynamic he uses of him, every time he's in a strike exchange, he loses his advantage in the match.
Yeah.
So brilliant. I mean, he does it over and over again, and it worked perfectly in this match. The match was great. He was the perfect person. If it never comes back, there's not a person better to have that, have that kind of legacy moving forward than Jonathan Gresham. So I thought it was an absolute hit. beyond the Jay Lethal kind of, the thing that's been an asterisk for Jay Lethal for the last 6 years. So there you go.
O'Neal?
Yeah, no, I like the match a lot. It wasn't really a surprise that it was Jay Lethal. I know everyone was like, oh, hopefully it's Danielson. That wasn't going to happen. I mean, but I think Gresham winning was the right call. He's a guy that I really did enjoy watching the limited amount of time that we've, been doing this, and I'm excited to keep watching him, wherever he ends up. He's a guy that's just very talented in the ring, and yeah, I like the match a lot. I kind of liked everyone coming out to celebrate him, and it did kind of let them end on a kind of feel-good high note, which is the best you can hope for in this circumstance.
Jensen, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I as far back as I can remember doing the Weekender podcast, which is a little over 3 years now, really early on doing that show, I remember even then being like, man, if Ring of Honor would give Jonathan Gresham the title, he should be the world champion in this company. This is before they even brought back the Pure Championship, and it was we've wanted it for a very long time. Yeah. It's cool that it finally happened, and it's cool that he can be that guy with that title belt, and maybe bounce around other places. If he can stay committed to Ring of Honor for whenever they pop up and be their champion, but also be wrestling elsewhere, that's a really good scenario for wrestling in general, and of course for Gresham and Jordan Grace too. We can't forget about her, because I think a lot of options he has Shewell as well. So I think we're going to be seeing her hopefully more places too. And I think she's super talented. So I think the future for Jonathan Gresham is super bright. Obviously, like everyone else, I want to see him in AEW. I want to see him wrestle Bryan Danielson and Lee Moriarty and Daniel Garcia and all those kind of guys. But yeah, it was 100% the right thing to do to make Jonathan Gresham the champion on the show.
I mean, Joseph, you said that I seemed down on it. This match in particular, I did. When we talk about other stuff, it's not that I was down on this overall show. I was confused.
It's
by
weird.
A lot about
yeah,
it.
No,
Yeah,
I get that.
So this is why I want to discuss this and kind of talk it out a little bit. As far as Gresham goes, look, the guy's tremendous. After talking with him and hearing, getting a lot of affirmation or a lot of confirmation, and also just a lot of new information, and speaking to him last week, you see how he is different. You just see it. And if you listen to that interview, then you can, again, a lot of confirmation of how he is different than anybody else. I thought he was great in this match. It was shorter than I think they had planned on going, because I feel like we kind of know why things had to get cut here. I did not like that aspect of it, and not necessarily the shortness of the match. It's fine. You guys know 17 minutes is kind of my cutoff anyway. But the celebration, it felt like it just should have been more. Yeah, they had to get out of there real quick because of that, and I thought that sucked. I thought there was oh my God, what?
Why are you calling Jonathan Gresham short? Haven't we learned what this causes? And listen, I'm here to do a bit, so I'm just going to warn you guys. You guys are on here talking about honor. You talk about honor every week on this show. How many of you were honor?
See, I can do things like
Listen,
that.
Wow. None of you were honorable enough to be on the post show. Not a single one of you.
I was doing the fight
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
That's a valid excuse.
What could have
live on the channel?
Listen, what could have possibly happened on UFC that was more important than what we saw?
Yeah,
but I got Jeremy in my DMs making demands today. He doesn't have honor.
True. That's actually very true.
Steven was watching UFC. He doesn't have honor.
I'm sorry. I'm taking care of 3 kids and 2 COVID patients the last week, Sean. Sorry.
Priorities, okay? If ROH is...
Get out of here.
Listen, I'm not done. Hold on. Joe is up till 6 a.m. every morning, but that morning? Except that one? Okay. So listen, I've feuded with Robert O'Neal for years now.
True.
So all I have to say, Robert, shake my fucking hand. Shake my fucking hand, adhere to the code of honor.
There we go.
And shake my hand. Now ROH is over. Now it's done. There's nothing bigger. This was the Titan. When EC3 said release the Titan and Braun came out, sorry, Adam Scherr came out.
His name is like, Adam, Sean.
His name
is Adam.
EC3 turned around and he went, "Oh, you're here? I meant Bob and Sean shaking hands. That was the Titan that I meant. That's what I was talking about." So I think it's official. We're dubbing you Bob is Honor.
Wow. That is an honor. That's an honor for me. So
Bob is Honor, Bob of Honor, whatever. It works. Bob of Honor. There we go. I was glad that I could make a cameo on this show because unfortunately I've had to sit through a lot of ROH over the last few years. And fortunately I've had to at times when Gresham's on. That's the fortunate part and some of their other great talent. But then there's been some times where it wasn't so great. So Bob, I think we put the final stake in the heart appropriately.
Hands again. You guys can't shake with the same hand. Somebody's got to choose the other hand.
Oh,
you go that way.
Yeah.
No, you guys. What are we doing here?
There we go.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks good.
That looks really good. We nailed it at least for a good second. Like for whatever Jeremy's going to use for a skit or an intro in the future, we got enough footage for him there, I think. Thanks, guys.
Why can you and Sean not shake hands properly?
Well, they both were, but they're not in front of each other.
Yeah.
So they're using the right hands, but
it's confusing. You don't
next
get
to each
mirrored.
other,
Yeah.
I'll never forget seeing Bob's hand just on the side of the screen, like a tentacle. Sean, that was incredible, man. I was a big fan. I don't know if Sean's still here, but the way that he walked back his Ring of Honor burial was very admirable. I'd like to say, as someone that also has buried stuff and then had to walk it back, I really admired the way he did that, and it's very good. But yeah, anyway, final battle. What was we talking about?
It's like that they cut the celebration short. That's
that was a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also in addition to that, it's one thing if you want to run your little promo for April, but they have no talent to advertise, so it's just this really shitty graphic they run. And it kind of, I was watching with my brother and a pal, and it, yeah, there you go, Sean. And I was, and it was it was an epic moment, but you're right, it did cut off so suddenly that it was a little bit flat at the end. But it was out of time, right? Because for a range of reasons that we can get into here as we go.
I thought that it was a good match. Gresham rules. And as far as him holding the title, if you listen to a lot of his stuff, he obviously puts a lot of value in ROH and in that title. He wants to defend it elsewhere. He's going to do Terminus. The people in the chat have mentioned him taking on Bandito at Terminus. I could see him showing up elsewhere with that title. I think ROH, based on who they put their titles on this show and sort of the things they set up on this show, they got some plans to at least try to keep those titles relevant and try to keep that name relevant if they do come back in April. And that's something else we can get into. And Gresham is certainly the guy to carry that and be kind of that sort of traveling champion who can go to promotion. And if they do end up coming back in April, there's still some prestige with that title. Joseph, thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, that's the kind of the conversation that's difficult to get a read on. So I'll ask you guys, right? We'll go around the panel here. By April, will Jonathan Gresham have wrestled in AEW? If so, who against, how many times, etc.? Okay, I'll start with you, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they are going to do a Danielson match. Assuming Danielson doesn't beat Hangman, I don't know what he does next anyway. So, I don't know that they're going to do a whole feud, but I think you at least do the match, and it's very good. And maybe that leads to him getting some more matches in there. I mean, he's obviously very talented; he'd fit right in. But I think he's definitely going to work Danielson before April.
Jensen, what are you thinking?
Yeah, definitely Danielson, 100%. I think he'll probably lose to Hook, maybe lose to Cody, and then that's possible. No, but you guys.
If John Gresham comes in and loses to Cody, I'm calling the police.
Yeah, Cody and Hook, those are the two.
By the way, A Cody Christmas. It's coming true.
No, we're not doing that. We did that.
Wait. What are y'all doing? Because I want in on whatever that is.
No, see, for months he's been saying Cody's getting the TNT title, and this is his victory lap, and it's despicable. I have no.
Former ROH World Champion Cody. It's going to be a 3-time AEW TNT Champion Cody on Christmas Day.
Enough about him. The man that had a literal Ring of Honor, which is one of the most absurd things I've ever seen in all my life. Now, here's the thing.
Wait, I have not given my Gresham opinion.
Well, I was going to set you up for a particular question. I also didn't want to expose your sources. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I don't think I do think he's going to wrestle in AEW. I don't think we're getting the Danielson match as soon as people believe we're going to get it. But I do think he'll wrestle in AEW.
Yeah, sir. I'm just looking at a chat.
Yeah, me too. Who is that? That's Sean.
Very alarmed right now. Yeah,
I'm loving what I'm seeing, by the way, and hearing. So
yeah,
I'm all for Cody getting that belt back.
Hey, Jeremy, would you like to repeat that whole answer? Because I didn't listen to anything you said because I was sweating profusely at what
I didn't see it. I see it now. I think Gresham wrestles in AEW. I don't think he wrestles Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, because this is the question I was going to ask. If he's to wrestle Danielson, what do you do as the finish there? Yeah. Do you do like full pure rules and have judges and he loses a decision to Gresham? Like, what do you do? I don't know. You're not going to have Gresham pin Danielson, right? So
I don't think so.
I mean, they could do what they did with Omega. Like, they could just go to like a half-hour draw or something.
They could. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's because like you don't want to overdo it, right?
Right.
I don't know. I'm kind of. It's difficult for me because my actual answer is I don't care. I just want to see the match, but I understand that more goes into it than that, unfortunately.
And that's why Danielson was never an option for Saturday because Gresham was always going to win, and Danielson wasn't taking that.
I mean, look, man. I mean this in the most polite way possible. I'm glad everyone got fired up, but like this idea that like, when the news broke and it was Jay Lethal was going to wrestle Jonathan Gresham, and everyone on Twitter was doing this deal where they're going. Tony Khan, they asked for CM Punk and Bryan Danielson and they got Jay Lethal. And it's like, brother, I'd imagine Jay Lethal was their first request. Like, they were clearly building to them to wrestling at some point anyway, if the hiatus didn't happen. I don't think Ring of Honor were even thought there was a chance they were going to get Bryan Danielson to come in and do a job to Jonathan Gresham 4 days before winter is coming in a 25 to 30 minute match. Like, it was never going to happen. Of course not. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think Gresham's going to be a full-time AEW guy for a while. I'm not sure, and I'm really intrigued on you guys are going to read on this, but like, he doesn't seem really interested in that scene, to be honest, like the kind of mainstream television wrestler thing. I mean, when he was talking to you, Jeremy, about time constraints and how long he goes in matches, like, he didn't sound like a guy that was looking to work around an ad break anytime soon, like, yeah. And I don't know what his situation is financially, obviously, but he seems like a kind of a for the art guy, which is interesting in wrestling. There's not many of them. Jensen, what's your read on that? Like, do you think he's a guy that's just kind of cool, just doing his own thing?
Yeah, I mean, with the way that the independent scene is right now, like, he could have a great career for himself, being his own boss and taking bookings, where and when he wants to, like, a guy that I'd imagine he's never wrestled before. I'd imagine he never wrestled before. Probably hasn't, at least I don't know of, is Dana Makabe. He's a really, really good, technical wrestler on the indies. Yep. Who I don't think gets enough credit out there. Like, I'd love to see him wrestle him. And then there's the guys that I mentioned like earlier, right? Like the Garcias and Moriartys and stuff. They can do those on AEW. They can do those in the indies. I mean, those guys have the kind of freedom to work, kind of all over.
That's where I think Gresham's going if he's going to AEW. He's going to wrestle like some of those guys he can beat and it be okay. I don't think he's going to wrestle those top guys.
Yeah. I mean, I think if they could do something where if he came in and he wrestled Danielson and lost, but then like wasn't on the show like all the time going forward and was still, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't hurt anyone to come in and lose to Danielson, just because Danielson is where he is. But I also think there's a lot of potential at some point in doing basically what they did in Ring of Honor with, I don't know why I just blanked on the name of the Foundation. Like I mean, if you have these young guys too, like we're mentioning Moriarty, Garcia, so on and so forth, and then you got Danielson and Gresham there too. Like, I mean, they could be a group. They could wrestle each other. Like, there's there's a lot of really cool things they could do with that, and it can spread out over multiple companies, like you're just saying, like, and I, by the way, just for what it's worth, I'll be there at Terminus, and like I'm really looking forward to that because it's in Atlanta. So like, I can't wait to see what he does on that show and kind of what that show is all about.
Yeah, I mean the Bandito match makes a lot of sense for that, right? Unless Ring of Honor kind of has that penciled in as their April main event, which they could. I mean, I think they're kind of confident Gresham will be around. It seems like he's very sure he will be. I don't know what to do with Bandito, but yeah, it's interesting. I mean, when he talks about CM Punk, it's like I just can't see a world in which he wrestles CM Punk while being the Ring of Honor champ and not losing it to him. And obviously, Punk, I don't think Punk's winning the Ring of Honor. It's just there's a lot of moving pieces that I honestly, and I mean this with love because he's one of my favorite guys in wrestling, but like I get the sense that Gresham is so kind of his mind is so pure wrestling that he hasn't. I'm not sure he's aware of quite how many kind of political pieces are at play when you do a match with CM Punk on TNT. Because if he didn't have the belt, he could just lose. And as Jensen said, he would get over in defeat. With the belt, it gets awful complicated, right? So I don't know. I actually think the answer is more simple than all of this, and it's what Ian said on commentary. He's going to do some New Japan Strong. He's going to do some indie dates, Terminus being kind of the central one, and he'll just defend the belt like that. And that'll be that belt's way of staying relevant. The other belts, I think we have a pretty clear kind of way to trace this moving forward. We can get into that now. But right now, my read is you won't see Gresham in AEW for a while. As much as I would love to see him versus every wrestler I like on the roster, I think you got a little bit of waiting to do first, unfortunately. So there you go.
I'd love to see him in Hammerstein also, by the way, for GCW.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm pretty sure that will happen. Like, I got a good feeling about that.
Yeah, because that's the thing. He's so visible elsewhere that he's not really a guy you have to kind of go out your way to like find a home for in the meantime. He's already got a bunch of homes outside of Ring of Honor, you know?
Well, yeah.
And also, people in the chat mentioned Impact, and like, I usually would dunk on it. Him doing like a one-off in Impact is not crazy to me. Like, Suzuki worked the tapings. You could do great. And I mean, who he would wrestle? I don't know, man. I don't know. The Machine Gun Carl Anderson? I don't know.
Yeah, there you go, your boy. I don't know what the best match for him in Impact would be, actually, off the top of my head.
How much would you pop for a Gresham Machine Gun Carl Anderson match?
I mean, I would know what the match would be like a nice little 12-minute television match that no one would like online. So I would more be concerned about the inevitable review it would get. No, I think Josh is the obvious match, right? Josh Alexander's one. But again, it's like it's the same thing we were just talking about. You're not going to beat Josh, right? So you kind of there's a lot going on there. So I think Impact's possible is what I was getting at before I went back to bearing the promotion. I'm sorry, everyone.
The Briscoes won the tag team titles against OGK. I thought this match was tremendous. I thought it was a great match. You've seen the GIF by now, but the Doomsday device, the suicide Doomsday device, that was absolutely outstanding. And then the Briscoes finish off Taven by just kicking the shit out of him with all their finishers and everything. And then afterwards, we got the big angle with FTR. And if you guys have followed online, Joseph and Jensen and I were talking about it before we came on. Briscoes cut this promo where they want Tony Khan to bring the jet to the cornfield, scoop him up, and bring him to Dynamite. It seems like we're gonna get Briscoes FTR somewhere, and we were having this conversation off air, but we'll bring it on air now. People think it's AEW. AEW seems very likely. You guys are talking potentially GCW. This happening, Jensen?
Yeah, Joseph actually brought it up, but I think it was a great idea on his end. Like, I automatically went straight to thinking that this will happen in AEW, and that's probably the most likely place it would happen. Especially because like the Briscoes, all the exposure that they're going to get, on a company like that, and FTR obviously being a big part of AEW, but also the fact that they're out there, kind of belt collecting, and like they can go after the GCW titles, or sorry, they already have the Briscoe brothers already being the GCW champions and the Ring of Honor champions again now. FTR could potentially almost like kill two birds with one stone. Like, I mean, they could go after the Ring of Honor titles and the GCW titles, and they could do it at Hammerstein, and like that could be massive. Regardless of where they do it, I just really want to see the match, and like obviously that's where they're headed. They wouldn't tease it like this and not do it somewhere. But me personally, even though AEW is like my favorite company, I want everything good to happen on that show. But like that in GCW and Hammerstein is like super, super appealing to me.
Yeah, that was something that I was kind of kicking around a little bit. But I will say, you know, and Jeremy, you mentioned how good the match was. It's time for the Briscoes to be on that platform that Jensen just referenced. And I mean, this was the match of the night, I thought, by a pretty good distance. And I think there was a couple other great matches too. But this, I thought, this had a certain feeling that was absent elsewhere because it was special. You knew the Briscoes weren't going to leave anything in that ring, and they didn't. And the angle was great, and you know, I'm glad we're talking about it. But before we even go any further on that, it's like, man, that was spectacular. Some of the stuff those two teams did. I mean, and love to OGK too, because Taven and Bennett are a nice team, and they're like a team that both halves of it have at times fairly, other times unfairly, kind of been like the punching bag for criticism in Ring of Honor, right? Different eras and stuff. But I mean, I thought they performed tremendously, and the Briscoes, that shirt they've got as of like, you know, the top 5 dead or alive deal that they've got. Listen, man, there's real truth to that. Now, like, if you don't have them in your top 5 tag teams, that's fair. They've been in that one place basically exclusively for 20 years. Like, I get it. But for those of us that have watched a lot of that 20 years, what an incredible resume that team has, you know, like match catalog and the range they have within their kind of like individual style. They're just great. They're a great, great team. Chance doing some fantasy booking, so we'll circle back to that. But Bob, did you enjoy the match? Was it your favorite of the night? Where are you at on the match itself?
Yeah, it actually was. I liked it a whole lot. You know, very chaotic. It was definitely for me. You know, and I think the Briscoes winning was, you know, the obvious choice. And yeah, I am excited for what they do with FTR. And you know, kind of like you said too, credit to them. They've been there the whole time, and it was probably pretty special for them to go out on top like that.
Now, I mentioned before we went on the air here that my current prediction is, I think that on the December 22nd show, where they run Sting and Darby versus FTR, we expect them to run that again, right? Mm-hmm. I think their way out of that finish will be the Briscoes showing up and costing FTR the match. I think that fits the vibe you're going for here, which is that they hate each other so much, they're crossing over promotions. I'm not sure how the North Carolina crowd, that's where they're at, right? They're in Greensboro, right?
Yeah.
That show. I don't know how they'll take to them, but the Briscoes are one of the Ring of Honor acts that are going to get over real quick. They need one promo. They need one scream of Mark while he does Froggy Bow, right? They don't need a lot to get over. I think that's where I would go, and that's what my prediction is. But the big thing, and Jensen nailed it, man, just give me the match. You know, this angle showed so much potential. I mean, like, we already knew how great this thing's going to be, but like the physicality and the intensity in this angle, this is going to be something special. I mean, if they get, wherever this takes place, if they get a nice 15 to 20 minutes for this thing, hopefully even more, you're looking at, you know, some classic tag team wrestling. 2 of the great teams of the last 20 years. So I'm fired up. You know, we spoke a little bit earlier about the Briscoes and like kind of they're obviously controversial and rightly so, and it's not my place to accept anyone's apology. But as a professional wrestling tag team, they got an argument, right? They're in the top tier, so I'm very fired up for where this goes. FTR, you know what, Bob? Let's hit your line about FTR.
FTR is back.
Factual. Bob's right. That's where I'm at right now, Jeremy. What are you thinking, Jeremy?
It's going to happen in AEW. If they show up in North Carolina, they'll get a pop. North Carolina's south. They'll be fine. They'll be fine there. I do think it's going to happen in AEW. Doing it at Hammerstein would be a choice, like a very good choice. I just don't know. It seems like such an AEW match that like Tony would be like, yeah, we're doing this on our program. Like, no offense to the GCW program and stuff, but like it feels like Tony wants that one. When it happens, go ahead, Joseph.
I was going to say real quick too. I none of us have even brought up like the AAA tag titles and all this too. Like, I mean, the Briscoes could potentially wind up there also at this point. I mean, like, there's a lot that can kind of come of this.
Absolutely. No, I was just agreeing with you, Jeremy. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's happening on AEW programming. When? I don't think you can hold it off to like Revolution. It feels like such a pay-per-view match, honestly. Like, I don't think they're going to do it. They're going to wait that long. They'll probably do it on Battle of the Belts, like that's in North Carolina too. That's in Charlotte. Like
shoot the angle there and do the match there. Yeah, you could do that.
Like you could definitely, and you know my issue with the Battle of the Belts, and I said there's got to be title matches and stuff. There you go.
Right.
Let's just put on two titles here. AAA and GCW and ROH. 3 titles.
The chat got very mad at me the other day when I suggested there wasn't a need for belts. So I think you're right. Just put as many belts as you possibly can in every match. And
put all the belts in the match.
Yeah. Now, I have a question. I'm intrigued where you're at on this because I was thinking about this earlier. We all agree the AEW tag division is incredible, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
You're starting a roster tomorrow, and you can pick any tag team from AEW's current ranks, not like Mox and King, but like the full-time tag teams, right? And then add Briscoes to the list. How many teams would you take before you took the Briscoes? I was thinking about this earlier, and I was tempted to give a big hot take on it, but I'm not sure where I'm at. What's your initial reaction to that, Bob?
FTR.
Yep.
Probably, I don't know if both the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers, probably one of those two, and then I'd put the Briscoes right there.
Yeah, I would go, to be totally honest, I would go Bucks and then Briscoes. And the only reason I would take them before FTR, even though I adore FTR, is because you can do them babyface or heel. That's the only reason I would personally go that way. Jensen, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with y'all. I would have to think probably a little bit more. And like Sting and Darby kind of fall in the Mox and King type category.
Right.
But yeah, I would have the Young Bucks. It would be the Young Bucks above.
Yes.
Like
they're top, right? The Young Bucks.
They're probably like if I had to choose one tag team to start a company with, it'd probably be the Young Bucks. You know what I mean?
Me
so
too.
like, but yeah, the Briscoe brothers are like right under there.
Jeremy, what do you think about this? I'm really intrigued by it because chat's got some differing views on this. I'm intrigued where you're on it.
Definitely Bucks. And after that, I'm long time Briscoes fan, and especially they haven't gotten the love they're probably ever going to deserve as a team because of they've just been in ROH. And look, when ROH was hot, they were very hot, and like at a time. I don't think I'm incorrect in saying this. At a time, they were considered like the best tag team in the world.
Yeah.
That's obviously fallen off as guys like the Young Bucks and other teams have risen, and they've been stuck in, or not stuck, but they've just been in ROH, and they haven't gone elsewhere. But man, the Briscoes they're so good, and they're good individually as well, and that's another thing that also works in their favor. I kind of get what O'Neill's saying of like FTR Lucha Bros like taking one of them. I'd probably lean towards I might lean towards Lucha Bros, even though that's not like particularly my style. But again, it kind of comes down to individually. Is like I really like Phoenix. I'd go Briscoes. It's
just the Lucha Bros like maybe the coolest team in wrestling. They're just so charismatic and awesome. But like if you didn't have as many professional wrestlers as AEW has, it would be a huge benefit, to box in the tick of a tick in the box of the Briscoes that they can cut the promos they can.
Yeah,
that is a big difference between it. Now, again, they're not as nearly as marketable as the Lucha Bros. So you can convince me either way, but like, I don't know. I do think, and I'm seeing some of the answers in the chat, and like we have different opinions, but I think some of you guys are sleeping on. Well, Briscoes are really formidable singles wrestlers too.
Yeah,
Jay
especially
Jay. He's champ twice, and I know his run was kind of divisive a little bit, but like, I guess what we're saying with that is some of these teams I couldn't imagine ever being, one half of them being the Ring of Honor World Champ.
Yeah,
Mark was the TV champ too, right?
Yeah,
I want to say,
yeah. But like a lot of people showing love to best friends in the chat, and like I would actually put them above, like maybe right under the Young Bucks if Trent was more active. Like it's tough when he misses so much time. But like I love them as a tag team. Maybe my favorite AEW match ever is them versus Santana and Ortiz in that street fight. Like I love that match.
And
like,
they're a great team too, by the way. Santana and Ortiz are on the board too.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing with best friends is like if Trent could stay healthy for like long amounts of time, he could be a massive single star too. So like, you know, it's just, and I love Chuck as well. He's just a lot goofier. He's like a lot more of a character, but like Trent looks like you just see the dude. I mean, he guy's like an 8-pack still and doesn't even work out probably. You know what I mean? Like he just, you know, I think New Japan have really big plans for him too before he left. He, you know, as a singles guy. So
I agree.
You know, definitely wanted to bring them up. I like them a lot.
Yeah, Trent's one of the biggest kind of like singles guys that it feels like no one scratched the surface with in that regard, right? Like you'll see matches of it and be like, holy shit, I agree with you. I think part of it is, and this obviously is separate from the injuries, which is a bummer, but he seems like he just has fun with teaming with Chuck, right? Like, and that's fine. That's awesome. That isn't like a criticism, but I think that's part of the kind of career story of Trent too, is he's not a guy that's like desperate for his own ego to have a singles run. He's pretty cool being a great tag wrestler, which is fine, obviously.
Yeah, and he also is a kind of guy who like he had a ton of success super early in his career. Like he trained and then like went right into the WWE like super young. And then after that, I think he's just having fun. Ever since then, he's like, man, I got to the top, and now it's just like about having matches and going to companies that he enjoys being a part of, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Best Friends are definitely a team that I think is underrated as a duo. I don't know if I could. It's weird. I struggle to see them as like a main event tag the same way I do some of these other teams. Does that make sense? Like I could see myself closing shows with a 25-minute Briscoes or FTR or Young Bucks match. But with them, it's like I see them as kind of just in the tier below, which is still a great tier. Just for me, they're a little bit off it, but I don't think you're wrong necessarily at all. And hopefully Trent stays healthy now because you know, it's been too long, right? Like Trent's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went off a complete tangent. That's my bad.
That was a good topic, though. Isn't it? You know. Yeah,
that's what I do, pal. I'm good at this. No, but yeah, the match was great. The angle was great. Very, very fired up for the eventual match. Jeremy, what else would you like to? What would you like to talk about next, my friend?
Real quickly, I'm gonna do some super chats. JJ says Kevin Nash and Bob are happy to see Braun for honor. I think that's probably where we're going next.
In fact, Jeremy, just so you know, I uploaded the video to our thing. So before we get to the Braun topic, you can actually play the full Kevin Nash.
Okay, I will do that.
So we'll do that. All right?
I'll do that.
Because Jensen doesn't know what that is. And that'll
okay. Cody Willis says SRS and Bob, the new superpowers. Never thought I'd see. Mark Losberry says Gresham versus Danielson, wrestling to a 60-minute draw.
Wow. I mean, sure, I'll watch it.
Hell yeah, for sure.
Okay, and is that it?
Yes. So,
all right.
Should I set this up because this takes some. So some of you would have saw this last Thursday, but basically, when Big Braun Strongman was released from the World Wrestling Federation, after months of Bob tweeting "sorry to see Braun Strowman" every time he came on TV, for some reason our section of Twitter decided that we would pretend that he was Bob's favorite wrestler. So we all sent Bob like video messages, being like, "Hang in there, man. It'll be okay. Like he'll show up somewhere else. It'll be fine." And then a particular wonderful subsection of this group purchased a famous cameo. Jeremy, roll the clip. It will speak for itself.
Hey, Rob, Kevin Nash. Yeah, I'm upset too, man. Braun was one of my favorite guys to watch on TV also. Plus, he's a buddy of mine. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But if you can get rid of the monster, I guess that nobody's safe, right? Or maybe that's the whole reason they got rid of him. I don't know. Anyway, just a pep talk, man. You know, just gotta. I'm rooting for Orton now. Orton's my new guy. So I guess that's all I can say. And I'll see you through the week. I'll see you through the window. My grandfather used to say that. See you, cracker. Peace.
No way. No way. That was the funniest thing I've seen in my life. Oh my god.
It gets funnier. Every sentence is funnier than the last.
Yeah. Oh god.
I missed like half of it because I was laughing so hard. Y'all have to just DM me that. Oh my god. Oh my god, that was incredible.
It's the part
Does
where
he think that Bob's like 5?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh god.
I'm telling you, the best part will always be he goes, "This is a pep talk," and then he just goes off and starts giving himself one. He's like, "I'm going to root for Randy now." He doesn't even say anything to you.
Oh my god.
He just like cancels himself and then leaves. Says crack up.
On the way out. Yeah, what a closing line. Oh my god. I'm trying to catch my breath. That was so funny.
Incredible moment.
I love Kevin Nash too. With the I'm such a big Kevin Nash fan. So
he's tremendous.
They hear all that. It's just that was hilarious.
An all-time great moment. Absolutely.
That was such a good night on Twitter with this everyone sending audio video.
You know the thing too is like because we've all clipped and used the "I'm upset too, man." You forget how funny the full video is, right? Yeah. Like when you watch it in full, it's like, God, this is a masterpiece. I mean, it's so good. But with that in mind, the Titan is that his like actual is that a nickname or is that he's?
I think it's the Titan Adam Scher.
Well, he's in Ring of Honor now. Before we go any further, I would like Bob to claim a tweet that he sent on Saturday night. The confirmed shoot informed me of. Was very excited about. What did you tweet when Braun came out, Bob?
I need to remember. I don't think I was happy about it. I mean, I wasn't happy about it.
You said you had a particular tweet that give a certain initials, Bob. You tweeted something that made people very excited in the quote tweets and replies.
What was it even? I don't even remember.
I think you're just going to have to read it, Joseph.
I believe he tweeted Ring of Bruna.
Oh, yeah.
And then realized that the acronym for that was Rob.
Yeah.
And immediately stood down the troops on that one.
Oh my god. Dude, Bob, you are a massive legend, dude. Like you have risen to the top of my favorite people on earth. These last few things. Oh my god.
Had no idea what he was doing with that and popped everyone with it. So there you go. But he was here. Jeremy, explain what he did because I can't explain it. It was fucking insane. I don't know.
Real quickly, I just want to touch on this violence versus pure match.
Yeah.
Dude, when they had Isom kick out of the cop killer.
They should go fuck themselves for that.
Yeah. What are we doing?
For nothing too. Like the eventual finish was there was no reason. I thought Homicide
he still lost.
Yeah, I thought that Eli was going to pin Homicide because Homicide doesn't, he doesn't care.
Yeah,
but he didn't. Brody just pinned him. It was like Homicide was great in that match. For you could tell he was fired up, and you know he had the old school the when he did the CZW angle. He had that gear on. I actually like that match quite a bit. I'm glad you brought up because I'd forgotten it. But then
they did the tribute to a lot of ROH big moves like
nice.
Mutilation. Yeah, nice. Like a lot of fun stuff in there from everybody. Yeah, but man, dude, when he kicked out of the cop killer, they killed the crowd. Crowd was pissed at that one. I don't blame them. Like that was stupid. And then Isom still lost, and then EC3 gets on the mic and I believe he's still talking, but at one point he did bring out the Titan, and Wesley Blake was there, right? It was that one, not the other one.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. He was out on the ramp before. Yeah. Oh, duh. Yeah.
He does.
I always forget that you're. Yeah. I know. I got you. I'm in on the bit now. I get it.
The Titan Adam Scher comes out, and that was the biggest surprise. Who had Braun Strowman showing up at Ring of Honor on the bingo card?
Yeah, no one.
It did feel very much. You mentioned the CZW invasion, Joseph, and like that's one of the most famous, like very famous, ROH angles. Like, I don't know if it's the most famous, but certainly, like that was an invasion angle, like done very well and done very right.
Great, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and like this, like it ain't the CZW invasion, but it felt like some type of invasion here with the narrative guys, and I don't know where this is going. I don't know what they're doing. EC3 just Braun's there, Blake and Murphy are there, like. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
And somebody, O'Neal, you're the Braun guy. Explain this to me.
Yeah, it's very bold to run something like this on your last show.
Yeah.
Good Lord, Bob, are you okay over there?
Everybody goes,
Oh my God, is this
Oh my God.
The dogs are barking right at the brawn talk here.
Yeah, no, I don't really understand running it on your last show. It's very bold. I mean, we'll see if they come back in April if they still do it. But yeah, just weird stuff, man.
It's interesting because apparently Impact couldn't get him, and they're like a company that runs shows, but like they were able to get Braun Strowman, even though the company's like they must have paid him a lot of money. I don't know how
They need to do Impact Wrestling's new slogan needs to be a company that runs shows.
Impact Wrestling, we're still in business.
You're right. No, you're right. But I don't think it's a Ring of Honor thing as much as it's they give EC3 a chance to do his... Because he signed a deal like not that long ago, so maybe he just asked for it and he got... I mean, look, I'm just going to be honest, okay? I think EC3 seems like a nice guy. I liked what he was. I think this control your narrative stuff is some of the worst stuff I've seen in years in professional wrestling. And honestly, I could not take less pleasure in saying that because I actively defended him when Bob's friends in the Mecca were talking about how bad he is. He's a talented guy. This stuff's just bad, man. It's really a shame. And this promo was like the worst of it. Like the gimmick is basically dude just listens to too much like Rogan and is like got like a new outlook on the world. And I can't tell if he's playing it straight or he's like dunking on him. I don't know what he's doing. I just can tell you that as someone that enjoyed him before, it actively bums me out where he's at right now because I feel like he is bordering on like incoherent. If that's what he's going for, God bless him. But you could tell the audience, when he was talking, the audience was just like, can we just get back to celebrating Ring of Honor? Like, please, God, back its end. They popped kind of when he said Titan, but like not really. It's just bad. It's just such a shame, man. I don't know. He's trying his best with this stuff. It just isn't any good, I don't think. Which is a shame. But there you go.
Yeah. I think the peak of him doing that was like right when he first started doing it. The feud that he had with Moose, I think actually was good and actually did put Moose in a better spot. But after that, it's pretty much the whole time he's been in Ring of Honor doing it, I guess, would be kind of more what you're talking about. But that's funny comparing it to like a Joe Rogan, like he just started listening to a whole lot of Rogan, did DMT one time, and then changed his life completely.
That's it. I mean, like you're actually right to bring that up because the Moose thing, there was actually a story worth telling there, and they used it to kind of help Moose's character along. It's still not my favorite thing, but I agree that was effective and it worked. It's just him in Ring of Honor was always a weird fit, and every time you see it, it feels just as weird as you thought it would be. You know?
Yeah.
His work doesn't really fit there. You can tell the audience isn't really into him, and like Ring of Honor crowds at this point aren't into a whole lot anyway. But
the best thing he could do right now is reunite with Rockstar Spud and Dixie Carter. The three of them as a group. Dixie Carter as an on-air talent. I would love that as like any company. Give me that. Like do an actual storyline with the three of them, like going into a company as a group. I think that would actually be really good.
I actually like unironically agree with that, which is incredible because I don't know why, but I think you're actually correct. That would be hilarious. I think you're right on that. Let's not do it on Dynamite. Just send that to. Send that to like MLW or something so I don't have to watch it in case it's bad, but I think it could be good. Spud's a very talented guy, so him and EC3 have great chemistry, so maybe. I
definitely think that's where it feels like Spud's got to do one of those control your narrative gimmicks.
Sorry to hear
that. Yeah, that just feels like the move for him because all those guys are like friends and stuff. They used to do the podcast and the show and stuff. So I'd be shocked if all of them did just end up together. Where they go, what they do, I don't know what EC3's end game is with this control your narrative thing because they shot an angle on this show for leading to I don't know what. Like I guess
it's the next control your narrative show. I guess.
Yeah,
right?
Like they just shot an angle, and I guess Isom's going to be part of it because he got dragged away by Strowman. And maybe, the ROH guys that Brian Johnson is going to be part of it because he was there as well. Yeah. Like it was weird for them to do that because we know that the company isn't going to really exist until potentially April. And EC3, at least with FTR and Briscoes, there's a home for that. Jonathan Gresham, he's going to find a home. EC3, he doesn't want a home. He doesn't like 3-letter companies. Like, that's the whole gimmick, right? Like, where's he going? What's he doing? It was just very strange.
I got a little bit mad. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I thought one of the best moments of the show was Homicide, giving you a little flashback to when they all took out Joe that time. And they had the Ring of Honor banner. And it was like, this is really the perfect usage of this show. And then EC3 starts cutting this promo, and I was just like, it got like real heat with me. I was like sitting there mad about it, like I was watching it. I was angry. I was watching it, and it's just a show. Look, when guys leave WWE, there are violent swings in success rate, and some guys try so hard. And I'm not saying this is necessarily the case for him. This is just my read on it. He's so desperate to get his own vision across that I think he's actually, taken away from what he's good at. I think his current presentation of himself, actively hides his genuine skills.
I think you're real. I'm just really quick. I think you're like totally right. I'm on the same exact mindset you are about all that. Yeah. I think you're right.
His ROH run,
it's bad.
Brutal. Yeah. Like, I'm with you, Joseph. Like, I don't find the control your narrative, like the actual like film stuff, match film, whatever they're doing there. Like, I don't think that's too bad. And like, it's a cool outlet. It's a cool creative outlet for wrestlers and stuff. But yeah, everything he's done in ROH, not good. Doesn't fit either. Just it's been rough.
I know. It was really quick to your point, Joseph, too. Like, some of the best stuff I've ever seen EC3 do was when he was still with like Impact, but he was doing indie shows as well.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him in the Nashville Fairgrounds, and that was the best I've ever seen him. No TV, no anything extra. Him actually interacting with the fans the way that he does, and he's just totally different now. I know that Doug, who I do the fight nights with, he went to an indie show with EC3 years back, and EC3 was so committed to like giving the fans like something they remembered that he got knocked out in the main event of the show, like lost the match, and apparently for like 45 minutes plus while the show was wrapping up and the meet and greets and everything, he just laid face down in the middle of the ring. Like, occasionally like got up and fell back over. Like, he was selling it for like an hour after the show was over. Like, and I was like, but you would never know that he's like that level of entertaining if you've just seen, especially if you just saw like his WWE run and what he's done in Ring of Honor. Like, you don't see that guy at all. So I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah, it just feels like the wrong presentation for him, unfortunately. Now, Bob, I know you have to go very shortly, like in a minute or so. So just quickly, any other match you would like to bring up and give a quick thought on before you bounce here?
No, I mean, we touched on the two big ones. I thought, the Kenny King match I was looking forward to. Right. I think it went a little too long, but overall it wasn't bad. I didn't really like anything on the pre-show, and I thought Roxy and Willow did a good job. Yeah.
Okay. Bob, do you have to leave, or am I throwing you? I don't want to just get rid of you.
No, I got about 10 minutes left, but it's fine.
Okay. Well, I don't want to be mean to you, Bob. I think you're a little bit harsh on Kenny King versus Shane Taylor. They only died about 4 times. So.
Dude, that pile driver that missed the ladder on that.
Yeah. Did you see what happened, though? Like, I don't know who the gentleman was that Shane called to hold the ladder.
Yeah.
But he lifted it before the power bomb. So it was like that, and it fucking went crazy. But I really like that match. Now, it's not one for your match of the year ballot because it is what it is. But like, I just thought it had, even though it had all the stunts, I really thought they got the vibe out of it being truly violent and hate fueled, and I thought it was pretty damn. I really did like it. I don't know, Jeremy, where were you at on that one?
I thought it fit what they were certainly going for. It was a fight without honor, so you don't need to.
It's fair.
You need to do like wrestling stuff, and they just beat the shit out of each other with weapons and whatnot. And they, like you said, they nearly died about 4 times, and then that ladder spot at the end was very, very brutal. It was something different on the show as well, which is always appreciated. No, I really enjoyed the match as well. Probably second favorite behind the tag team match, honestly.
That's interesting. I don't actually disagree with that. I mean, I was lucky enough to watch this show with other human beings, which I know with Ring of Honor is a very rare occurrence in both my life and everyone else's. And this was a hoot, in that sense. Yeah. Like, you just popping for chaos. Jensen, where was you at on this one?
Yeah, I like the match, and I think the right guy won. Like, I thought it was just, with how long the story's been going, like, have Shane Taylor win it, I thought was smart. And also just something I just want to give a shout out to from the last match real quick. Not enough people, I think, talk about Tony Deppen as like one of the best bell-to-bell dudes right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's really, really, really kind of. I mean, he's a big deal in GCW, but he's kind of slept on in like the grand scheme of things. I'd keep my eye out on him for everybody watching this. Like he's going to be everywhere, I think now. But yeah, the Shane Taylor Kenny King match, no problems at all. And I thought it was cool at the end too, like all the African American wrestlers together doing the thing, you know. So like, I thought it meant it wrapped everything up really nicely with this whole feud as well.
I think that firstly, to circle back on what you said, Violence Unlimited is one of the great examples of like people not watching Ring of Honor because that act is so awesome. Like all four of those dudes are great, right? And they're all different. And like Shane Taylor Promotions is right alongside it in that sense. I have to say, I see a lot of names talked about in terms of who should be signed and who shouldn't be signed. I actually think these two guys, and I'm putting Kenny in this too, even though I think Shane would be the priority. I think they're both sleeper picks if you're a national television promotion. Kenny King is not a guy that there was a time where when Gabe had the book that he kind of wanted to push Kenny King. Like, he's never going to be the top guy. I think he's an asset to a wrestling television show. That dude can talk. He's genuinely charismatic. He's versatile. You can put him in a team. You can put him in this kind of angle. I thought he killed it as like he was kind of resentful and he was a real villain, but he felt human. He didn't feel like a guy playing a character. Does that make sense? I think he's really great at having an authentic feel on TV, which honestly, there are guys on the main shows that don't have that, to be totally honest. Like he's a guy that's figured it out, I think, over the last, especially the last maybe, since he was doing stuff with MVP, I think he's been pretty good in that regard. Shane Taylor, I put over because that dude just don't get enough love. I think he's great. So both of them, I was glad they got that moment because I think they both gone under the radar too much, to be honest, because no one watches Ring of Honor, unfortunately, you know? That's where I'm at, personally.
Kenny King's been great on TV his whole life. Y'all remember My Brother and Me? How he was a part of that as a little kid? A huge shout out. Sean actually asked him about that in an interview. I thought that was incredible. And then he was tough enough too, like back in the day. He's been on TV for like his whole life. It's kind of wild when you think about it.
How old is Kenny now? I mean, I don't mean to pry, but he looks younger than me, and I'm assuming he's not.
I'm assuming he's got to be older than me because he was on Tough Enough when I was in high school, I guess.
40.
So yeah,
He's 40.
I mean, look. Maybe I'm not watching close enough, and I'm being unfair, but I genuinely think he's the best he's ever been as a professional wrestler now.
Yeah,
he may not be as like dynamic moves as he was when he was in All Night Express 12 years ago, but like as a performer, I think he's about as good as he'll ever be. I'm not saying he'll be in AEW. I don't think that's the fit, but like, I hope there's a place for him somewhere because I think he can do some good shit as a character and be a good part of a TV show. That's where I'm at right now.
I'm completely with you. Like you said with him is he can play a lot of different roles, and there's value in a guy that you can just kind of slot in sort of anywhere. Like, is he going to be world champion in your company? Probably not. Not everybody's going to be world champion.
Right.
Some guys you need there to fill roles and to, be on television who have television experience and things like that. There ain't many guys out there that can do as much as Kenny King can do for a television promotion.
I am intrigued by, and I know WWE is not hiring professional wrestlers right now, which is a tremendous sentence that is actually true. But I am intrigued by putting him back with MVP and Bobby, because that was a group in TNA, and everything that happened in TNA can happen in WWE 5 years later.
Beatdown.
Yeah, but like before because they became the Beatdown Clan when they added, Joe and Low-Key and Homicide.
Right,
before that, they were, I don't know what they were called before that, when it was just the three of them, and they were feuding with Eric Young, tremendous. I mean, I don't know, that just crossed my mind because I don't know how much more MVP is going to be wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you can use Kenny as the guy that teams with Bobby on TV and unfortunately takes those falls, that's kind of the role you have there, right? Like, that intrigued me a little bit. Again, I know WWE's current approach is what it is.
If only you had like two other guys that could be
part of that I know that is what it is. I mean, that we don't need to talk about here, but that group being split up and people just refusing to believe it happened is one of the all-time. Like, people just feel like they're going to put them back together, and it's like they kind of have, but not really, right? Like,
no, not at all.
Let it play
the women's title match, Roxy against Willow. Willow got a lot, and the crowd was not happy that she lost. And I think there was a couple of reasons for this. One was because she looked so impressive from the match, and two, it's because I don't think there was the weird pinfall in this match, right, where it looked like it was a 3 count, and it guess it wasn't, and so people just thought Willow had won. I thought Willow looked very, very good here, and that seemed to be by design. Roxy's still very young. Thought she looked good as well. And then the post-match angle with Deonna coming out, and seems like they're going to set that up. Deonna and Roxy, maybe Mickie James. I don't know if they're telegraphing this hard to kill finish with Mickie and Deonna by doing all of this, but it looks like we're going to get Deonna and Roxy for some belt in the near future. What are we thoughts here? Oh, go ahead, Joseph.
No, it's fine. I'll be quick, and I'll throw it at Bob, because again I know Bob's got to leave. I feel like I'm throwing him out. It feels bad. Match was good. It had a couple missteps, right? I think Roxy is way better than you'd expect her to be at her age, but like her challenge over this next few years will be finding a babyface presentation that the modern fan is into. And what I mean by that is, I personally think there's nothing wrong with presenting someone as just like, she's a prodigy. You know, she's an incredible professional wrestler. I might cheer that. Wrestling fans I could see it being rejected. I don't think it was necessarily rejected here for that reason. I think Jeremy nailed it as to why it was. That is something to watch, though, right? Like, just the traditional baby face, I think nowadays is harder than ever, which is a shame, but it is what it is. You get what you get, I suppose, right, Bob?
Exactly.
But as you said, I think, the belt's going to go and live on. I think it's going to go and live in Impact the same way we expect the the Ring of Honor tag belts to go live in AEW, maybe, or that's what I think we're gonna head here. So that would be interesting. Bob, you mentioned the match. Any kind of grander thoughts?
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I am interested in seeing what both of them do, because I think, they would be in demand if they want to go somewhere. And I don't know, what this Deonna thing's going to entail, but it's going to be interesting. I'm very high on Roxy going forward. I think she's going to be very good. But yeah, I mean, kind of like you said, she does have to find a little bit more of a role, but I think she'll do it.
I do too. She's very, very young, so it's not even like criticism, right? It's just saying to kind of watch going forward. Jensen, where's you at on this one, pal?
Yeah, I'm with everything you guys said. I think Roxy has a lot of talent. I think she could be successful really anywhere that she goes. I think the character type thing or gimmick or whatever, like, that's just it's gonna matter depending on where she goes with that kind of stuff, of course. But like, I think that if y'all want to see like some of her really good work, she does really. I think she's out of Houston, or she's out of Texas somewhere. Yep. She has really good matches out of like Loco Wrestling and New Texas and stuff like that. Like, so, and how old is she? Like 21, 22?
I think she's 20.
20, only 20.
I mean, so, yeah.
I mean, imagine because there's some other really good young female talent out there, like Sky Blue. I think it could wind up being really good. Obviously, like Billy Starks is out there, and she's still only like 17, but like, the future of women's wrestling looks really bright, and I think that Roxy's gonna definitely be somebody who's a major player in that scene for sure.
I think the problem with a prodigy babyface gimmick, or just like a prodigy gimmick at all, is like there's so many good young wrestlers out there.
Yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm. Just being like, oh yeah, this person, she's a prodigy, she's better than all these people. It's like, I don't know, man. There's just a lot of good 20, 21-year-olds that are there right now. So that's why it seems like it's a tough gimmick to kind of sell, especially as a babyface. And like you said, Joseph, like just doing like kind of pure babyface stuff overall is just as tough as ever right now.
It was one of the few kind of tonally moments where I was like, like when she was standing there smiling with the belt after winning, and everyone was just like, boo. It wasn't crazy heat, but it felt a little bit uncomfortable, right? It was a little bit weird.
Yeah, it was tough. And again, I don't think that has anything to do with the gimmick or anything like that. It just had to do like Willow she outshined her in this match. And then the messed up count or whatever it was, like people thought Willow had won. And so when that got screwed up, they were disappointed after that. Right. So yeah, I think that's why it was a little and then Deonna comes out, and look, Deonna, she's just a bigger star than Roxy. So
she's just a star, full stop, man.
Yeah, sure.
And by the way, like, she's a great example. If you guys out there, whatever show you're watching, if you see a young wrestler that doesn't look like they got like a lot of character or charisma, watch Deonna Purrazzo's development in that regard. Because she came, like, her defining trait a few years ago, she was just shy. She was so quiet. and such an inward personality that that would be her character, right? She's like a shy baby face. Look at her confidence now. It can take time. So Roxy not having a kind of big time character or presentation, it's just a matter of time. She'll figure it out. She's too good not to. I think the only match worth I think the opener's worth acknowledging, right? I don't think we need to go super in depth for it, but Dragon Lee Ray-Horus, like that was, I mean,
Yeah.
It's easy for those dudes to have that match, but still, Dragon Lee especially is like, that dude's special, man. I don't know if anything on that quickly, like that particular match.
He's gotten so lost in the shuffle, it feels like, over when he was doing stuff in like New Japan and whatnot, it seemed like, oh man, this is the guy right here. And then everything happened, and like he's just gotten so lost in the shuffle being in like that's a negative of ROH. It's like he just went to ROH and people forgot about him. Like that's legitimately what happened there.
Bob, was this the first time you'd seen him wrestle, Dragon Lee?
Yes. Yeah, I thought he was very good.
He's so unique, right? In that he obviously has all the flashy kind of like, but he strikes. My God, he hammers these poor dudes.
Yeah.
He's spectacular. Jensen, anything on that one before we move on?
Dave in the chat mentioned it. I was going to bring up because Jeremy brought up New Japan, his feud with Hiromu Takahashi. That was really good stuff. And he had a lot of buzz around that time. And then, like y'all said, Ring of Honor unfortunately kind of cooled him off, like buzz wise. But he has the talent to literally be successful in any company that he goes to. So,
yeah, I think he's one that, like, I don't assume he'll be in AEW, but it's probably quite likely, I think, because he's the kind of guy that if you're a TV product, you can get 10 minutes of TV match. How long was this match? Like 11 minutes, 12 minutes? You could do that thing on TV every week and it would get over, you know? Like, to me, I wouldn't dismiss it. I don't know where he's working currently, like, most predominantly. I think he was doing a lot of Ring of Honor, though. I think that was his, like, main...
Yeah, that was his main
thing. So there you go. That's worth keeping an eye on. Anything else? I like the finish of the pure title match. I don't have much else to say about it, but anything else stand out before we kind of put a bow on this?
I'll shout out. Sorry, clear my throat there. Red Titus. It was cool to see him win the TV title at the end. Yeah. Like that dude's been in the company for like 15 years. So, and all the ups and downs of like him being with Kenny King and the All Night Express, and like Kenny King, at least in my opinion, Kenny King always seemed like kind of the bigger star of that group or the more potential for a singles run. And, you know, how long he got kind of lost in the mix there and then kind of resurfaced and repackaged himself for the foundation and stuff. And I just think it was really cool to see him finally get a moment on his own. So shout out to Red Titus for that.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm glad you brought that up, because he's the kind of guy that, frankly, and I hope this comes across straight away, but he's the kind of guy that the people that work for the company appreciate more than those that watch it, in the sense that everyone has nothing but glowing praise for him as a human being and as a performer. And it's nice when you give guys like that some love, right? Like, I completely agree. It was a nice moment. It was easy to do, and it made sense. Anything else? Bob, anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Jeremy Lambert?
No, I mean, overall, you're going to do overall thoughts on the show? Okay. Overall, like it was a good show. Obviously, it's tough to be like, they set up a lot of shit. I don't know. You know, some of the stuff has a home. Some of the stuff, I don't know where it's going. The video messages were nice that they included those in there, and they got the names you would kind of expect that could do it. But it was good. Overall, it was a good show, and I enjoyed it. It was just so weird. It's just weird to think like this is the end of this promotion, most likely.
Jensen, final thoughts on Final Battle?
Yeah. You know, when it came to the video packages, like Jeremy said, I thought that was really well done. It was cool to see how many people, especially big stars, like current stars, they were able to get to do those. And they seem like genuine, like, thoughts that these people were putting out there. Like CM Punk felt like he was being very genuine about talking about his time in Ring of Honor and stuff. And so that I thought that was all really cool and good on the talent too for being willing to do that and all that stuff. You know, like y'all were saying, it was a bit weird to watch because it was, in my opinion, on a much smaller scale, but it was almost like watching the last WCW Nitro, where you're like, you think that the company's coming back, but like there's no sure thing there. So like we really might just be watching the end of it in front of our eyes. Yeah. And So that's kind of where it was at. Like I really enjoyed the show itself, and I was really happy that the way that Ring of Honor presented the majority of the show, and made it really seem like a big celebration of just the history of Ring of Honor, so that if this is the end of it and Ring of Honor is no more after Final Battle from now on, like this is a show that they can put, they can tip their cap to. This is their exclamation point at the end of the thing, right? Like they had a great show to go out on. But it also left meat on the bone for if they are able to continue to run shows. They've set themselves up pretty good going forward if they can keep commitments from a lot of these talents that they want to work with. So I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Bob, any final thoughts before you sign off? Because I know I've kept you too long. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think Jeremy and Jensen kind of nailed it. Like it was a good way for them to go out. It did have a weird vibe, but if they do want to come back, they left the door open for themselves, and I think that's really all you could ask for in their last show.
Bob, do you have anything to promote before you leave here?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at RobertO'Neill31 and go to latenightgrin.com and watch NXT with Joe tonight.
Thanks, Bob. Right, I'm gonna get speak soon, pal. I think maybe the high bar on this. This was actually one of my favorite shows of the year.
Really?
I really loved it. I thought it was really enjoyable, and the videos were pretty awesome. The matches, 3 matches that I would say great I don't think is the right term, but there's 4 matches there that we talked about in most length that I just had a wonderful time watching. I know this is cliche and like you can all roll your eyes. I get it. I wish certain guys could have sent videos in.
Yeah.
The idea that a certain guy that now scouts talent can't send a fucking video on a show that he could have been scouting talent on is so dumb. The idea that Ian
miss a lot.
Yeah, the idea that Ian can say Roddy is watching the show at home and he can tweet, but he can't send a video. Like, to me, that's just so whack and just the dumbest shit ever. But whatever, that's another story for another day. My weird take on this show, and like what I'm about to say is really selfish, and I hope everyone that's kind of behind the scenes keeps their job. So this is me just talking as a fan. I really love this show, and I kind of left it like content with that being the end. I guess what I'm saying is this is hilarious. I kind of treated this like it was a funeral. And for me, it was like a nice exercise and all the great memories and some of the familiar faces. And I ended it and was kind of just like, I think that's a nice way for it to end. And again, I mean that with love to all the people that's jobs rely on it coming back. The people that work for Sinclair on like not just the wrestlers, right? Like, because let's be honest, whether it comes back or not, the wrestlers are probably like, it's going to be a different roster, I think. I don't think you're going to see some of these guys back, most of these guys back. But in a most sentimental, dumb way I can put it, I left this show very much content with it being the end. And maybe that's short-sighted of me, but you mentioned it, man, like they didn't sell this show out. And like, if we're really being honest, the buzz was pretty minimal in the grand scheme of things. And like, is there really great interest in the comeback beyond our little nerd circle and they just keep spinning their wheels waiting for it to revive the glory days of yesteryear? It's probably not. And for me personally, as someone that's loved a lot of it, I left the show kind of being like, I'm cool with that being the last note. Now, if it comes back, I'll watch it, and I hope that it's awesome, and I hope they find a new way to revolutionize wrestling and feature great young talent. But for me personally, I left this show kind of being like, that's enough for me. I've closed the book there, and maybe that's sad in some ways, but I enjoyed it very much. I love the show. So there you go.
It's way better than the company just like going out of business and not being able to do that show. You know what I mean? Like at least we got like Tobey's UFC, it says in the chat, you got closure. Like whether it's the end or not, like we had a big finale show at least.
Yeah, that's a good word for it too. It was closure, and it sounds dramatic, but like I think what makes Ring of Honor so interesting and why there's such a big reaction to all of this is for a lot of us, Ring of Honor represents like an idea, right? And it's an idea that started like kind of small and really niche. And while wrestling will always be niche, let's be honest, a lot of those ideas are now seen on national TV in front of 1 million people every Wednesday night, and a lot of those ideas, I think it was the home to a lot of stuff that's now much more commonplace. And the idea of it just kind of trotting along like it had been, I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot to like about Ring of Honor over the last couple of years, but it wasn't exactly the home of innovation and revolution and stuff anymore, right? It was kind of just existing. And for me, if that's the end, I think it was a good way to go out. If not, I'll probably be there watching it. But as of right now, I think it was a nice final battle to conclude things on. So yeah, I love the show though. It was great.
Luis says Joe Henry is yoked.
Yes.
I'm with you on the closure aspect, because one thing, I mean, we've talked about this many times on the ROH podcast, is their influence. And like you said, you see a lot of this stuff on national TV, but you got a little bit of everything on this show, which was good. The other thing we always talk about is like them being like the original kind of Forbidden Door. Like you kind of saw that here, is like you got guys from every different promotion on this show, except for the obvious one. And like that was nice that so many people were like, ROH isn't helping these companies at this point. These companies were more helping ROH with this stuff. But it was nice to a reminder of like, hey, yeah, before AEW was doing all this stuff, ROH is where these guys would like just kind of pop up where you wouldn't expect it. You'd get kind of these dream scenarios that you wouldn't expect beforehand. The closure is certainly the right word for it. And maybe I was just too down to be like, yeah, I really loved this show, and it was one of my favorite shows of the year. I did enjoy it, and it was very much a closure thing. It's not something where I'm going to be like, oh yeah, this show was just at the absolute tip top for me, because it was sad in a lot of ways.
In the majority.
It just was.
To be clear, you didn't. I'm not saying you watched the show wrong, because your review is what I've seen from most people, which was it was a good show. Yeah. Just for whatever reason, maybe I watched it in the right start. I don't know. Sometimes the mood you're in changes it, right? Maybe I rewatched it, I wouldn't like it, but like there was a nice feeling to the whole thing, and Ian was great. Ian and Caprice, by the way. What a great team they've been, Great team. And Ian, I thought, his passion throughout the night was just awesome, right? He ticked the boxes for me. It wasn't perfect, clearly. We talked about some of the flaws, but like, it was a nice wrap up of what's been an incredible promotion over the last few years, a really weird one. Lest we forget, PCO as world champ, and like all of the weird places they went there. The home of Bully Ray's latest Heat chapter and shit. Like it's become really weird, man. So it was nice to have a show that was weird, but in a kind of fun way, in a kind of wacky, enjoyable way. So that's where I'm at. Final battle and all that good stuff. Yeah, there we go.
Jensen, anything to plug? Final words?
Yeah, sure. If y'all want to check me out on Twitter, my Twitter is @FightTalk_, FIGHTTALK_. If you want to watch some professional wrestling, go to independentwrestling.tv or IWTV.live. Use code FightTalk. All is one word, no spaces. Put that in the promo code spot. It helps me out when y'all do that. Tonight, live rounds with me and Doug on the RVD Tito for Life YouTube channel. That's the number 4, RVD Tito for Life. We'll be talking about Hook's debut, reviewing UFC 269. We'll be previewing Winter is Coming. There's like a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. So check that out. 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll be on there for probably around 2 hours or so. And shout out to my boys over at Unkind Esports. That's everything I got.
Joseph?
You can join me in about 20 minutes as I prepare to watch NXT 2.0 on latenightgrin.com. Oracle will join me. I think confirmed shoot's going to be there, but not watch. Roddy Strong versus Bron Breakker.
That'd be good.
I'm listening in for that, actually. I didn't know that was happening. I'll watch that.
That'd be good.
If they get like 6 minutes, they can do something worthwhile with that. I don't expect them to get more than that, because God forbid we have something good on a show. But if they get any time whatsoever, it'll be good, because Bron Breakker's a real prospect and Roddy Strong's great. So you can do that. Tomorrow night we'll be back here on this channel, right? Previewing Dynamite and usual antics. Thursday, the Distraction. Couple quick things. Twitter's unbearable. Fuck Twitter. But if you want to see updates on my latest Christmas game adventures, like when I won at Jenga yesterday, you can follow me on Instagram, Joe Hulbert LNG. If you are a patron, or you're just deep in this whole bubble and you can't do the Patreon, I get that too. DM me on one of these many platforms I'm on, and I'll give you a link to the Discord. I've focused on it for the last 2 days. We've got like 40. I know it's 40. We've got like a nice group of people. Everyone's talking wrestling, having fun. There's some good conversation here, Jeremy. If you want in, you obviously just tell me.
Yes, I need to get in on the Discord. Yeah. I've been so out of the loop this past week.
It's my fault. I made a mess of that whole project, so I'm trying to right the ship on that. And because I'm trying to use Twitter less, it's a really great way for the community element to stay. You know, so.
People were putting over the Discord on our Twitch stream today. So
good. Yeah. Yes, it's pretty nice. So we were talking about Wrestler of the Year earlier, and we had some good conversation. So
yeah, DM me the link, and I'll try to be more active on that.
So yeah, that's about it. I'll see you all in about 20 minutes. Watching some NXT, baby.
Guys, we appreciate it. As Joseph said, we'll be back tomorrow before Dynamite. I'm working on getting someone on the show. I don't know who yet. I have ideas. I should probably send messages. That might help. I'll do my usual thing where it's like 30 minutes before the show. Hey, you free in half hour? Come be on the show, please. So we'll have a guest hopefully on that show. And then Thursday, Extraction, 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk about new AEW World Champion Bryan Danielson, and then we'll do the post show. And then Friday, hopefully some Twitch stuff. Hopefully back on a normal schedule. Again, I know I said it yesterday, but now sort of news is out there. I appreciate all the well wishes over the past week because I had to take a step back from things. The girlfriend got COVID, and I was being there for her and the kids and everything. So I appreciate everybody, sending well wishes and understanding, and especially Joseph for doing all these streams and keeping everything rolling while everything was going on. So I never had to worry about this channel, like not having content or anything like that while I was away. So I always appreciate everything you do, Joseph, not only for me, but for all the pals and everything.
I took like a 2-week holiday about a month ago. So I feel like probably the least I'd do to just do a couple streams without you. No, I appreciate it. I mean, listen, I got to say, and you know me, Jeremy, it's very seldom I give this kind of optimism live on the air, but I'm pretty fired up for it. We got a lot to, we got a lot of opportunity here and a lot of tools at our disposal. And that's not even including Bob, the biggest tool of them all, So I am very fired up, and there's a lot. I think there's a lot of cool shit we can do, and we've not even scratched the surface yet. So a lot more coming. Big year ahead, I think. I hope anyway. So there you go.
I think there's only one way to close this, and so that's how we're going to close it.
Hey, Rob, Kevin Nash. Yeah, I'm upset too, man. Braun was one of my favorite guys to watch on TV also. Plus, he's a buddy of mine. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But if you can get rid of the monster, I guess that nobody's safe, right? Or maybe that's the whole reason they got rid of him. I don't know. Anyway, just a pep talk, man. Just gotta. I'm rooting for Orton now. Orton's my new guy. So I guess that's all I can say. I'll see you through the week. I'll see you through the window. My grandfather used to say that. See ya, cracker. Peace.